Thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse. We'll start from the Jubilee House because President John Dramani Mahama is taking steps to deal with illegal mining by convening over 50 major civil society organizations for a high-level meeting at the Jubilee House on October 3, 2025. The forum will bring together experts, policymakers, and stakeholders to chart sustainable solutions to the worsening environmental crisis. Ghana loses an estimated 120,000 hectares of forest cover each year to illegal mining, according to the Forestry Commission, while turbidity levels in key rivers have exceeded the 2,000 NTU threshold for effective water treatment, with the Brim River alone recording a staggering 64,000 NTU. The move has sparked mixed reaction. Now, while some welcome the engagement, Imani Africa's Vice President Franklin Kujo argues that what the country needs is urgent action, not more dialogue.
Guidance action, really. I mean, I don't know whether the meeting is supposed to ask us for our views or opinions as to what else to do. Frankly, I don't understand why we are meeting, but I suspect that maybe solidarity with President, maybe he wants to hear whatever we have to say. But frankly speaking, I think we all know what to do. And other than maybe meet and greet, I really don't know what else we are going to discuss at this meeting. We've been having frank discussions ever since this matter came to a head. We recall the last administration, matters came to a head. The presidency, well, we just played the insert of the former president, the Sweetest life on the line, and that was the highest point we've ever gotten to, right? Then what happened? Everything started unraveling, and now we are here again.
Reverend Father Michael Kwaku of the Ghana Bishop Conference has also stressed the need for decisive action that puts national interests first.
We find the invitation of the president a welcome one. Even though I agree with my brother Franklin that action is what is most needed now. It's always good. It is always good to talk and to dialogue. Who knows what might come out? The president has called us. We will oblige. We shall be there. We will listen to him. We shall also engage and articulate what we believe is good for our country. So we will be there. I've been in conversation with my superiors already about it. A delegation is being put together, so we will be there. But what we are expecting is clear, and it is nothing different from what we have said before. We want action to save our environment, to save our life as a people, to prioritize the life of the nation above pecuniary interests.
Staying with us here on The Pulse. Well, let me bring in the Deputy General Secretary of the NPP, Haruna Mohammed, join the conversation here. We told you earlier that President John Dramani Mahama has invited over 50 major civil society organizations for high-level dialogue at the Jubilee House, and that is slated for Friday. The forum is expected to bring together experts and policymakers, and the key concern for all these individuals is just simply to chart that course on how to deal with the environmental crisis posed by illegal mining. Let me bring in Haruna Mohammed at this point in time just to get the brief reaction of the New Patriotic Party. We're hearing from government tell us that this dialogue is to enable them put together sustainable ways to deal with illegal mining. As the opposition, what's your thoughts about it? Haruna Mohammed, can you hear me?
Okay, can.
Great.
Can I hear the question?
I just wanted to get your brief reaction. Now, government is calling civil society groups together just to dialogue on the way forward to deal with the illegal mining menace. As an opposition party, what's your thoughts on this?
Thank you very much. This clearly tells you that the President of the Republic is not minded in the fight against Galamsey. When he was in opposition, he had ample time to have consultation with the civil society. They were not government-appointed officers of state. They were in their offices, and they're on the streets of Ghana talking and speaking and agitating to the sitting president then to implement measures to be able to solve Galamsey. They were very straightforward in their talks, and he had discussions with the civil society. And after then, he told us that the first thing that has to be done is state of emergency, and also to repeal the various provisions in the LI that looks at or supervises the conduct of mining or small-scale mining in Ghana. So today, if the president is telling us that he's now inviting the CSOs, it tells you that the president himself has not been clear in his mind and is not honest to the good people of Ghana with the way he wants to deal with the issue of Galamsey. So
during your tenure,
it's a clear departure from his own position, and I don't think that we should be applauding for him. Rather, he should be apologizing to the good people of Ghana. During
your tenure, the NPP tenure, for 8 years, did you even dialogue with civil society groups, especially because the concern was that you failed to also declare state of emergency, despite the massive calls from civil society groups?
Yes, one of the calls for the civil society was for us to have what we call the state of emergency. We did not see the need for state of emergency because we have taken adequate measures to ensure that we are able to regulate the conduct of mining within our Ghanaian sector. We took the steps to repeal that particular law that they were talking about in terms of the forest mining and all that. We took all those particular steps before we exited power. We also made sure that we invited various critical organizations, and the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources issued a statement that communicated well to the people of Ghana that these are the various steps that we have taken. We also engaged the security services to move into the forest reserve and ensure that those who mines without licenses and those who mines overboard the procedure of mining within Ghana was being regulated. So we took the necessary steps. One of the steps that we took that involved the civil society was their communicate to the people, to the government of Ghana at that time, which His Excellency Nana Danko Akufo-Addo took cognizance of the report of the civil society. And as part of their call was the state of emergency. The NDC accepted to the state of emergency and said it can be done within 24 hours. And today, they are in power over 9 months now, and they are not doing the state of emergency. What dishonesty is that? You cannot approbate and reprobate, and that is what the people of Ghana must know.
The bigger concern really is that you said when you were in power, you took steps to deal with illegal mining, but obviously the reports we're receiving shows that the steps you took failed. You're talking about LI 2462, the repeal on that LI. You say you started the process, but as we speak, that LI has not been repealed. So it begs the question, at this point in time, you now agreeing that there's a need to declare a state of emergency now that you're in opposition?
Because the Ghanaian people, many people voted for the NDC because they said they are going to do state of emergency. People voted for them because of that. So why will they come and backtrack? People voted for them because they said they are going to do state of emergency, and that would have been the solution to the problem, the myriad of problems of the people of Ghana. So if I voted for you because you said you are going to do state of emergency, you come to power and you are telling me that there is no need for state of emergency because there is other security measures you are putting in, which the previous government was doing. Is that not dishonesty? Is that not dishonesty? Is it true that the people of Ghana
is it the case, Haruna, if you allow me, yes. Is it the case that you now agree that there's a need to declare a state of emergency?
No, they are on their own sword. They are on their own sword. As an
opposition party, do you think it's necessary to declare a state of emergency?
I am no more in government. My decision today does not influence anything.
But you're the biggest opposition party. You're the biggest opposition party. The reason why I'm asking, do you now agree that there's a need to declare a state of emergency?
At the time we were there, 10 districts were still enjoying water. At the time we were there, the water supply systems in Ghana were still better. At the time we were there, some measures were being taken and were making sure that good mining practices were being observed. So we did not see the need for state of emergency at that time. So now that we are here, 10 districts in central region cannot have water. 10 districts. All their systems have been shut down. Ghana Water Company, together with TURC, is determining to increase utilities by 280% or 289%. Where are we going? So if this is the state that we have reached, it means that it has gone over. And if Ghana civil society is calling for the meeting, these people have water life without exist. So if this is the case that two districts cannot supply water, then clearly that's the president should exercise.
Hannah, you have to position rightly. I sense we're losing you. But then publicly, you showed commitment to dealing with illegal mining. But behind the scenes, you are issuing mining licenses. The last few months of your administration, more mining licenses were issued than the past 1 year of your last administration. And that was a big concern, really. Now that you're in opposition, you agree that your approach to dealing with illegal mining failed. Don't you agree?
The fact that you have issued licenses to TV and radio stations to operate does not indicate an illegality. The fact that BVLAs have issued licenses to drivers drive, and there is that they have licenses to drive the cause of accident, it does not cause accidents on the road when you issue licenses to people to operate. So if you license to people operating,
Hannah, you have to position rightly. We're struggling to hear you. If you could try one more time.
Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear now.
Okay, I'm saying that the fact that you have issued license to people free does not amount to illegality, does not amount to selling to a man responsible. And you issue license to drivers drive from, and there is cannot attribute to a license by this that what the license for people drive for there is road. So lights are meant to make light.
Oh dear. Hannah, your connection is still not favorable. We'll try and work the lines and reconnect to you. Maybe you may have to try.
Can you hear? Can you hear me?
It's better now. It's much better now.
I'm saying that the issue of licenses by the previous government does not necessarily amount to an illegality. And I'm giving you an analogy that Miracles has given before, that if you issue licenses to drivers by DVLA, it does not amount to when accident happens on the road. It is because you have issued licenses. Licenses are meant to regulate. Licenses are meant to manage. Licenses are meant to make sure that things are done in a proper manner. So the fact that we have issued licenses, it means that we are getting people who are mining illegally and giving them licenses to mine responsibly. So for me, I don't agree with the fact that because we have issued licenses to people, it means that it is a cause of illegal mining.
So much for your time here on The Pulse. Meanwhile, the Education Minister, Haruna Idrisu, has urged the University Teachers Association of Ghana to remain steadfast in its demand for government action against illegal mining. He stressed that Ghanaians need food, water, and clean food and water, underscoring the urgency of tackling the menace. His remarks comes as the union considers declaring industrial action following the expiration of the 3-month ultimatum issued in July. Speaking at the 22nd Biennial Conference of UTAG in Ibri, the minister emphasized the critical nature of the fight against illegal mining and encouraged the union to stand firm. Our reporter, Fatal Bayaga, is on that beat for us. Jones is live from Ibri. Fatal, what can you report as we speak?
This afternoon, the University Teachers Association assembled about 200 people from across the country as part of the 22nd Biennial Congress here. And they've been talking about so many things, from ways that means to explore and funding, universities. Apart from that, they also brought experts to, talk about the importance of AI in education, and also to improve the ethics as far as university education is concerned. One other very critical issue that we were expecting to hear has to do with illegal mining. The education minister touched on that briefly, and he told the union not to back down. He told them that they should continue to work hard in order to ensure that the issues of illegal mining are addressed. But now I have the former or the outgone UTAG president and then new UTAG president right here with me. So I just want to have a conversation with them in relation to some of the things that they've been discussing here today. Let me start with the former president of UTAG, Professor Mahmoud Akodugu. You have, served as the UTAG president, and you did a lot of things. One of the major challenges that you spoke about here has to do with funding for tertiary education, tertiary schools, particularly universities. Talk to me about that. How, based on this Congress that you've held today, how do you intend to improve upon that?
Yeah, thank you for having me, and thank you to your viewers for following. I think, basically, we know that over the years, funding to the tertiary education space, especially the universities, has been reducing. And as I talk to you now, most of the cost that government takes is probably just about part of our salaries. And the rest of it are paid from the...
Fatal, unfortunately, we seem to have lost connection to your sound. We're working the lines to reconnect to Fatal just to get updates on that. He has two key individuals of UTAG just before him, and we'll be crossing over live when we reconnect the lines. We're trying to work the phone lines because we have challenges with the sound. But one key update we're looking forward to is the purpose of this Congress. Some of the key things we'll be looking at is that decision that needs to be made. Will UTAG indeed withdraw their services nationwide as they protest the approach to dealing with illegal mining? They have pushed for a targeted state of emergency in key areas like the central region where illegal mining has crippled access to clean water. And so we're reconnecting the lines now to Fatal. I'm hoping it's clearer now. Fatal, take us away.
Areas do you try to explore in terms of improving funding for the tertiary institutions?
I think at the moment we are not charging realistic fees. My 5-year-old, for example, the fees I pay for preschool is more than how much a first-degree student pays in our public universities. You cannot sustain the system like that. And the universities are not allowed to charge the realistic fees. And even what is being charged, you can imagine that every year you have to go back to Parliament to get approval to increase even by 100 Ghana cedis, by 200 Ghana cedis. All those are contributing to the funding challenges that we have. If the universities are allowed to charge appropriate fees, adequate fees, at least we should be able to fund the gaps in the.
What do you mean by appropriate fees?
As I said, if a master's student going to the UK, you pay no less than £20,000 to do a master's degree. In Ghana, you pay less than 5,000 Ghana cedis to do a master's degree. Meanwhile, we can use the taxpayers' money to sponsor students to go and do programs that are offered in our universities. And so if the UK, for example, they can charge $20,000, pounds, just convert that to Ghana cedis and see how much that is. And we cannot charge even £1,000. It's a problem. And so that aside, you realize the undergraduate programs, for example, that is the base, because that's where we have minimal students. They pay less than 3,000 Ghana cedis a year.
Okay. So before I speak with Vera, talk to me about how much you think would be appropriate for students to pay here in Ghana.
I think realistically, we shouldn't be thinking about less than 5,000 Ghana cedis a semester. I mean, that is if we want to be realistic with ourselves, at least as a beginning. not less than 5,000 Ghana cedis a semester should be, at least would help. But over time, we have to work towards providing funding opportunities for the students so that they can get bursaries, they can get scholarships. Those who cannot afford can get the bursaries and the scholarship to support them. And those who can afford should be allowed to pay.
All right. So let me talk to Vera now. So he's the new UTAG president. Listening to some of the speakers during the Congress, I was told that you face infrastructural challenges. And in fact, some of the students are boxed together because of inadequate, dormitories or and classrooms and all of that. Talk to me about that challenge.
Yes, over the years, even as the population has grown and the quantum of students who are due for university level education has expanded, our resources have not actually matched up to the speed of growth. And so this has actually resulted in a deficit in terms of the gap. So I like to jokingly say that when I walk into my lecture room, it's more like a political rally. Okay. Because then, when you actually grooming at the higher educational level, you need to be literally replicating yourself. So that means you need more engagement. So with world-class institutions, we actually have a certain ratio or proportion of students to faculty. That has been, should I say, long gone when it comes to our public universities. And so what you find is that even as we are trying our very best, we are unable to match up. What even makes it worse is that because our conditions of service are not that great, what we find is that those who ordinarily should aspire to get into academia because they are the brains would like to replicate, more like the genes would like to replicate, would prefer to go into the corporate sector because it pays better, or they rather even do buying and selling because it pays better, or best even go into politics. That's a V8 and S gratia assured. But for the economy to grow, we need the right brains in the right places. So you want the right people in the right places. That's literally resource allocation then. So this funding actually has long-term implications we are not seeing because production for the nation is falling because those who ordinarily should go into production, the risk-adjusted return doesn't make economic sense, and so they walk away, and they'll rather do other things that pay because as human beings, they are rational, and they'll go for the best.
You said you are going to do other things, so let's talk about illegal mining, because UTAG has been very, very tough when it comes to the fight against illegal mining. In fact, in July, Professor Akodugu and his team said that they were going to, declare a strike after 3 months if the government doesn't take steps in fighting illegal mining. Prof, your, deadline is fast approaching. I'm told that this week it will end. A lot of people across the country are, waiting to hear from you. You are holding a congress here today. Should Ghanaians expect your union to declare a strike because of what we say in relation to illegal mining? In fact, a lot of communities are struggling because of the impact of illegal mining.
Okay, let me say as we say in our labor parlance, that in July, we issued the statement and we said that if within a certain period of time, we did not see concrete steps being taken to fight Galamsey, we are going to advise ourselves. I know that those of you in the media and many others will always interpret to advise yourself to mean to go on strike. And basically, during the period, the past 3 months, we have engaged government. We've pushed for certain things to be done, and we've submitted our proposals to the sector minister. And one of the items, for example, tracking of excavators into the country, it was a proposal from UTAG that we understand has been rolled out. As to how effective it is or not, that is something that we have to relook at. The issue of declaration of our forest reserves and then water bodies as national security zones. Again, we made the proposal that in the least that the least that can be done, if the government is not ready to declare a state of emergency in those targeted areas, the least is to declare them as those areas as national security zones. That has also been done, and there are a number of other things that we suggested that are been implemented in one way or the other. But it will take time for us to be able to see whether these are really making the right impacts or not. And that is something that we have to assess and see what is the best way forward. But as we said, that if need be, and I know the president will, our now president will talk to this, but if need be, UTAG will never shy away from doing what is needful. And so Ghanaians can always expect that if UTAG assesses the situation and there's a need to do anything, they will take that decision.
Prof, this is not the first time that we are hearing some of these promises from, government, right? So, are you, because in the past, some of these promises were made and nothing tangible was taken, are you quite convinced that this time around the government would go ahead to, ensure that they implement this well to ensure that they fight illegal mining? Because as we speak, we're told that women are compelled or they are facing abortion, right, because of the impact of illegal mining. If you go to the central region, a lot of people are struggling to drink water or to have access to potable water because of illegal mining. This would concern you.
Of course, it concerns us. That is why we went ahead to even declare a strike last year when everybody decided that they were not going. It concerns us. It is we continue to see it as a national emergency issue that has to be tackled. But are you aware that the tracking is not a promise but is done? Is it a promise or is work that is going on? Right? The declaration of the reserves and the water bodies as national security zones, I don't think it's a promise. It's a decision that has been taken. It's a policy decision that is to be implemented. So we must make sure that it gets implemented. But we cannot also say that because it's a decision that has to be implemented, we should not trust that it will be done. It is for us to focus our energies on ensuring that it is implemented and effectively done so. Okay. The LI, when the LI, we continue to demand that the LI that permits mining in forest reserves should be repealed. The government decided to amend it, and we insisted that we wanted it to be repealed. At the moment, we have been told that when Parliament resumes, it will be repealed. Okay. So these are things that at least following our release, these steps have been taken. Okay. We need to go back and look at the steps that have been taken so far, whether they are promising and whether they would help us to get to the promised land, and what other things we may need to do. Because as for policies, when you implement a policy, other things may come up that will require your attention again. And so we are looking at all that has been done. We'll review it, and then we'll take the next step that has to be taken so that the fight continues.
All right, let me bring in Vera now. Vera, you are the new president. You've taken the baton today. I'm told that you are going into a meeting, a NEC meeting right now. Is this something you are going to discuss about? And whether or not your union, would you like to take tough measures or maybe tough decision in ensuring that government takes the right steps in fighting illegal mining?
I'm sure we will take tough decisions. One of them would actually also be to, should I say, task the media to do a very good job of engaging the relevant stakeholders, bring the news to the people, ensure that all the people who are affected in one way or the other begin to understand the issues adequately. UTAG will do its best to help the nation, even as we also task all relevant stakeholders who should give us a loudspeaker to engage appropriately will do so. So yes, we're going into a NEC meeting. We will make some decisions and of course, as we are a teaching and research body, so when we put all our information together, we would like to take the most appropriate decision. And once we do that, we'll inform the media.
Will the strike be part of this?
We are not a body that likes to take strikes for the sake of taking strikes. So if the need arises, we will advise and do the appropriate thing. Until then, we stand ready to help Ghana grow. I
spoke to you early on. You told me how, Galamsey is affecting the community. You said you were concerned about that.
Yes.
So, and you said you are going to be bold too now in fighting illegal mining.
It doesn't always mean striking. I believe striking, would it, in a sense, educate the people to pursue sustainable mining practices? Maybe not. And that is where we would also expect the media to do their part of the job and help us to communicate appropriately. We want maybe the repeal of the LI that allows mining in the forest reserves. We would want the media to join us. So whilst UTAG does a bit, we would also crave the participation of other relevant stakeholders to join the fight so that Mother Ghana will be safe.
Thank you very much. So I have been speaking with the current UTAG president and then the former UTAG president on their position as far as illegal mining is concerned. And at the moment, they say that they are going to hold a NEC meeting. After the meeting, then they will determine what decision to take. But based on what they told me this afternoon, it looks like they, in a way, enjoys the work that the government has been doing so far. Or they are satisfied with the work that the government has been doing so far in the fight against illegal mining in the country.
Thank you, Fatal, for bringing us that update all the way from Ibri. We'll be back to you after the NEC meeting concludes. Just get updates as to if indeed UTAG will be withdrawing their decision to embark on the strike or will go on with it. Well, away from that, the suspension of the embattled Charles Akwesi Edu, assistant headmaster in charge of academics at KNUST Senior High School in Kumasi, has not disrupted teaching and learning on campus. The Ghana Education Service removed Charles Akwesi Edu following a viral video allegedly showing him in what GES says was an inappropriate situation with a female student, while GES described the matter as a serious breach of professional conduct. It also barred the assistant headmaster from entering the school pending investigations. My colleague Ohimin Teria visited the school and reports full academic work was in session as teachers and students went about their normal duties.
It is a normal day here at KNUST SHS in Kumasi, where the assistant headmaster of the school has been suspended by the Ghana Education Service for allegedly engaging in amorous relationship with a female student of the school. This news appear not to have disturbed the academic calendar as teachers and students on campus go about their normal academic work here on campus. Only parents seeking admission for their wards are seen entering and going out of campus with the hope of getting their wards admitted on campus. And the information I got from them is that both the head of the institution and the assistants are engaged in a series of meetings outside campus. But JoyNews multiple sources indicate that the girl in question has been in amorous relationship with a student, a male student, was rusticated. After that incident, the female student also lost her right to be in the boarding school. On 19th September, just after completion of the SSCE exams, the girl used the assistant headmaster's phone allegedly to send a recording that has since gone viral to her alleged boyfriend. School authorities, according to the security here, are tight-lipped and wouldn't want to comment on the issue. As GES continue to investigate the matter, students and teachers of KNUST SHS appeared not to be disturbed by the development as they continue to pursue academic laurels. From Kumasi, for JoyNews, Ohimin Teria reporting.
Well, let's explore this further. Joining me now is Bright Apia of Child Rights International. I also have my colleague Ohimin Teria on the ground because we're hearing from parents a push for stringent punishment against this headmaster that GS tells us has since been sanctioned. Let me start with you, Ohiming. Clarify for me, has he been officially relieved of all his duties or he has been transferred?
We can report is that since the incident or the video became public, GES took steps to suspend the embattled assistant headmaster, of which he was called to report to the Ghana Education Service headquarters in Kumasi. So since last week, Mr. Edu has been reporting to GS office. My sources at the office tells me he usually reports to the office, come there and sit idle without doing anything. So I can report that indeed Mr. Edu is not on campus, and as the statement from GS did indicate that he has been barred from entering the campus school premises. Indeed, he has since not been seen in or around the campus as we speak.
But you've also been engaging some parents, just to get their thoughts on this. What exactly have they been telling you?
For the parents, the engagement was a bit scanty because many of them were those who had come to the campus seeking admission for their wards. So they wouldn't want to put themselves in any compromise situation because in the first place they were entering the school so they could receive some kind of gestures from school authorities and in the case of admitting their wards. So they wouldn't want to talk much on this, just to say that once GES is investigating, they are hopeful that the Ghana Education Service will get to the bottom of this matter. And even to say that the teacher in question has been suspended is a good sign that GES do frown upon such conducts, and they are hopeful that GES will delve with the matter and get to the bottom of the issue. I will also say that Charles has also added his voice to the issue. Charles is not comfortable and has condemned the situation where the teacher was found in that position with a female student, which Charles, national president, Reverend Frimpong, also says this shouldn't have happened in the first place. And he says, though Charles has received some reports in the past of teachers' involvement in some of these acts, it hasn't come in the open as it has happened in the case of the assistant headmaster of KNUST Senior High School. So Charles has also added his voice condemning the act the same way that GES has also added its voice.
Let's talk about the girl in question, the student. Do we know her age? What exactly have you been digging about her?
It's difficult knowing her exact age, but it's of public knowledge on campus that this is a girl who enrolled in the school as a general art student into the boarding house. Some time ago, she and other male students were, caught in the web by the school's disciplinary committee. They were seen to have been involved in the smoking of banned substances. To say leaves suspected to be Indian hemp were found in their possession whilst they were smoking on campus. So the school's disciplinary action took some steps, and the steps affected this girl in question, the general art student, and she was asked to stay home and report to school as a day student. So I would say that she was rusticated the same way another male student, which my information on campus indicates that he was the boyfriend of this female student. So unlike the girl situation, this gentleman in question, who was affected by the school's disciplinary action, decided not to return to school. So they just ended WASSCE exams. The gentleman in question sat for the exams from a different center, though he was given the opportunity as a day student at KNUST SHS. That did not happen. So information is that this gentleman has been in that relationship with a girl. They have this amorous relationship. In the same way, the girl also has allegedly with the assistant headmaster. So right after the exams, the final year exams, the girl actually had the video recordings. Is a recording we have all seen in public. It's been very viral. It has gone viral. So she first decided she used the headmaster's phone, the assistant headmaster's phone, to record that scene, which is in public now. And in the same way, use the same phone to transfer the video to her boyfriend who was outside the school. So the two of them, maybe as a plan, decided to hold on with the circulation of the video until after they were done with the final exams. Perhaps when the girl would say, I'm no longer a student under the control of school authorities. And that is when they released the video, which has since gone viral. And so on campus, the teachers who are on campus are aware of this story, including the classmates or the schoolmates of this girl and the gentleman in question. And the house, the assistant headmaster, I was told until he moved to KNUST SHS, he's usually referred to as Stone Boy, was a senior housemaster at Opupari Senior High School. And he was transferred to the school to become the assistant headmaster about 4 years ago. Until then, he has not been, been found with any irregularities or disciplinary actions or having had these issues or brushes with the law before when it comes to student-teacher relationships on campus. So for teachers on campus, they are a bit surprised that the teacher will lower himself allegedly to that level to have that amorous relationship with the student. Okay. But then they wouldn't want to speak or talk much about this. They want the law to take its course as GES investigates the matter.
Thank you, Ohim Interior, for bringing us that update. Now let me bring in child rights advocate, writer Pierre, also of Child Rights International. We appreciate your time here on The Pulse. We're hearing that this case is currently before the disciplinary committee. From where you sit, what kind of action should be taken against this headmaster?
Any action available within the framework of their protocol, and then also whether our legislation support the any kind of punishment that need to be administered. And for me, the most important thing is that how do we get the environment safe for the welfare of children, and how the relationship between students and their teachers will be like. So if there's any punishment that needs to be meted out, I think that it should be a punishment that would also deter other people from engaging our children in a manner that they did, and also making sure that we put in certain policy, safeguarding policy framework within our school system, so that teachers will know that they have to uphold a higher standard of care for our children. And then children must also understand that there's a limitation to the extent to which they can have a certain level of relationship with teachers within that environment. And once we're able to do that, I think that we will safeguard the welfare of our children, and then we'll make sure that some of these things do not occur.
Now, just give me some legal education, really. Legally, can she still be said to be a child? We don't know her age for certain, exactly. But then can we still say that she's a child and she's been molested or taken advantage of if she's past 16 and she had given consent to the amorous relationship?
Yes, of course. Oh, some of these things can come to bear, but it also depends on the circumstances. And if we're to be rape or defilement, I think that the context of the discussion would have been different. But this is a sexual assault. And if you clearly watch the video, you will come to a certain conclusion that there is some kind of agreement between the two parties to engage in that. And that can also be put in a proper context when we know the age of the child to be able to determine whether the headmaster obtained the consent or not. So those are the things that would help us to determine whether a criminal action can be taken. And even if it's a criminal action, you expect that the lady or any of his family members need to initiate action against the said teacher and all that. So it's a bit complex in terms of issuing a criminal charge against the assistant headmaster. But what we really need to look at in this context is that the teachers, people who teach or who are within the school environment, must hold what we call the standard of care. So irrespective of whether you have obtained consent with a child or not to engage in certain activities, once we are within that environment, you have to be cautious of how you can administer your standard of care for the child. So whether, in this case, whether they have obtained consent or not, then of course, the issue of standard of care can also be an avenue for which we can also bring some kind of civil charges against the headmaster. And I'm sure that is where the Ghana Education Service want to take advantage of. But even in that area, I think that they are limited, because if you look at the standard, the protocol that they have in the schools, this is not punitive enough. It only puts in certain measures. For instance, if teachers are engaged in this kind of act, is either you are transferred or you are dismissed from the school. And even if you are dismissed, the offense must be so express that you don't have the capacity to provide care for children anymore. So it's a whole complex issue. And we don't really have express provisions that deal with some of these issues, like sexual assault within the school system. When you go elsewhere, either you'll be banned from having access to children within a particular radius, or maybe for your entire life, you will not be granted access to any environment where children play or they do their things and all that. But in our case, we more focus on the administrative punishment rather than looking at the child protection in terms of how we can make the school environment safe. So the safe school system do not really have protocols that will spell out what needs to happen when some of these things happen. But we have rather embedded that within the administrative system. So the focus now is not only about children. It's not about children. It's about how administratively they can run the school. And when you do that, it means that you are not taking into consideration the best interests of children when it comes to management of schools. And that, for me, is what makes this a case a bit difficult to pursue in respect to the kind of punishment that you can give to the said assistant headmaster.
And then moving forward, really, would you propose or recommend that we amend the GS Code of Ethics or even our laws to give room for some of these concerns you're raising? That way we can be certain of outright punishment for individuals involved in acts like this.
Yes, the code of conduct is a code of conduct. So if they want to review it to enhance their work, that is good. But the most important thing is that we need a safe school policy. Because if you look at the education strategic plan, clearly for the first time, we have decided to include the issue of child rights and child protection. So we need to give it flesh so that when we develop the safe school policy, and that would define a clear how students and teachers can have a relationship, and that relationship must enhance their learning and must enhance their social development, then we can ascribe certain punishment to it. That when you go beyond that, this is what our safe school policy says, and that would help us to whether to determine whether some of these things can be criminal or it can be civil. So these are things that we have to. So beyond we reviewing the code of conduct, which is purely administrative, I also think that we need to develop the safeguarding policy within our school system that will clearly spell out relationship and how we should handle our children. And this must also come with information for a lot of students to also get to know. They should be well informed so that when they are taking certain decisions, they will take decisions that will be in their best interest.
And in the light of these concerns of students involved in compromising situation with teachers and even assistant headmasters, how do you propose moving forward that we can ensure that our schools are safe enough for the children?
Well, as we speak, the school system is infested with all these kinds of behavior. Because where I said a number of cases that we receive on a daily basis, it will surprise you that this is just a tip of the iceberg in terms of what is happening to our children in schools, and even issues that are happening between student to student, student to teachers, and even teachers to teachers. So clearly, we need to, first of all, look at if the Minister of Education is interested in this matter. I think that they have to do a proper audit on social systems of our schools to determine whether we even have the infrastructure to be able to do all these things. And then on the basis of that, we can recommend that the state must take steps to develop a comprehensive policy that will safeguard the school system. Once we are able to do that, I think that people will not just take advantage of the system and then do anything that they feel like, because they are doing it because the environment is loose and nothing is controlling the environment. And because people feel that, and one thing that people always do is that when they say somebody is above the age of 16 years, they just assume that automatically you can obtain consent from the child to engage in any kind of acts that you will not be responsible for. But they have also forgotten that when you attain the age of 16 years, what actually the law requires that you should obtain from the child is what we call an informed consent. And what means is that the child in question must have a full understanding and the consequences of his or her action to be able to come to that conclusion. So it is not just cast in stone for you to just say that, oh, I've obtained the consent from the child, so I can do whatever I want to do. And I'm sure when we are able to put some of these safeguarding instruments and systems and mechanisms in place, it will help us to get some of these things off our shoulders as a country.
Thank you so much, Barta Pia. He is Executive Director for Child Rights International. You're still watching The Pulse. Please, we'll be back after this quick-turn. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse. Now, let's shift our attention to politics, because tensions in the NPP has reached fever pitch as the General Secretary, Justin Frimpong-Kodia, petitions the party's disciplinary committee against the Bono Regional Chairman, Kwame Bafo, popularly known as Abronye DC. He accuses him of defamation, gross misconduct, and breaches that undermine the party's unity and credibility, citing derogatory remarks against Kennedy Japan, false allegations of a cover-up and misrepresentation of confidential reports. The NPP is calling for a full inquiry and sanctions, insisting that accountability and discipline are essential to safeguarding its image and democratic values amid an intensifying flag bearership race. Let me bring you details of that statement put out by JFK earlier today. It's coming up on your screens as we look at some of the key concerns he's raising. And it states here that the National Secretariat of the NPP wishes to inform the public and all stakeholders that the General Secretary, Justin Frimpong-Kodia, has formally submitted a petition to the National Disciplinary Committee regarding the conduct of Mr. Kwame Bafo, popularly known as Abronye DC. The petition outlines a series of actions by Mr. Bafo that are deemed not only unbecoming of a member of the party, but also gravely detrimental to the image, unity, and integrity of the organization. He goes on to raise key concerns. Now, there are quite a number of them. Number one, defamation of a senior party member. Two, baseless allegations against the General Secretary. This, he goes on to table his concerns. Now, according to JFK, Mr. Bafo further alleged that the General Secretary deliberately concealed a report that purportedly implicated Honorable Kennedy Japan as the destroyer of the party and recommended his expulsion. These allegations, according to JFK, are false, malicious, and injurious to the integrity of the party. Another key concern that he raises in that petition is misrepresentation of the committee findings. Well, Abroye DC himself, we know, has also been responding to this statement. Showing on your screens right now is his response. Let's just look at some of the key things that he says and his response to JFK. And that's coming up on your screens right now. He's just been detailing his defense. We know that the party has a lot to deal with in coming days, and that's on your screens right now. It reads that my attention has been drawn to a social media communique issued by our great party and duly signed by the General Secretary, Justin Frimpong Korea, inviting me to appear before the party's National Disciplinary Committee. I hereby write to indicate my full preparedness and willingness to appear before the committee to comprehensively lay bare and substantiate the antichrist actions and inactions of Kennedy Japan, which has undermined the cohesion and integrity of our party. Since the referral was made public, I therefore propose that the sitting of the committee be conducted openly and broadcast live. Now, he goes on to state that he wants the rank and file of the Noble Party to have an opportunity to witness firsthand the manifestation of what he calls Antichrist posture and conduct of Kennedy Japan. That's signed by Abroye DC. That's his response. He's willing to appear before the committee. However, he has a request. He wants that they make the whole process public. Away from that, the Director General of the Ghana Prison Service, Patience Bafaboni, has raised concerns before the Public Accounts Committee over the persistent challenge of feeding inmates. She explained that although the service proposed 10 Ghana cedis per prisoner per day, the government only approved 5 Ghana cedis, with the President directing an additional 10 million Ghana cedis for the last quarter of the year. That money, she says, however, is yet to be released. She added that prisoners are still being fed on 1 cedi 80 pesos, of which only 1 cedi is spent directly on meals after suppliers take their profits. She stressed that without the release of the approved funds, the already fragile feeding system risks collapsing, with possible consequences for inmates and their health as well as security.
I think this has been recurring in our reports every time. And in these few months, various steps have been taken as enumerated in the status of the implementation. Gladly, we proposed 10 Ghana cedis and were granted 5. And after the consultations, President actually instructed that the amount should be increased to 5 cedis. And that's an amount of 10 million, which was supposed to cover the last quarter of the year, was to be released. But it is yet to be released, even though the approval has been given. And I also want to put on record that reference to the question of how we have managed the 1 cedi 80 pesos. I have to mention that the 1 cedi 80 pesos, in actual fact, is not the amount that is even used to feed the inmates, because the food is supplied by contractors who also take their profits from same. So practically we are feeding 1 cedi.
To deal with the shortfall, they have actually made some recommendations, and that came up before the Public Accounts Committee today. The service has rolled out the Director General Kitchen Project, which requires every prison facility to maintain a garden, a fish pond, poultry, and small livestock farm. She spoke before the committee, again, Patient Bafaboni, saying that that initiative is helping supplement daily meals.
So as a directorate, we have come together to bring about a project we call the Director General Kitchen Support Project. And in that project, all prison facilities across the country are supposed to have gardens, a small fish pond, a poultry or something related to animal husbandry, which is supposed to support same. Once in a while, the churches have also supported. And so we are feeding beyond 10 cities. And it is through ingenuity. With the approval from the president, I think now, even as we speak, our budget for 2026 is capturing the 5 cities. What we need now is the amount to be released for this last quarter. And efforts are being made to get the money into our accounts, and then the formal communication to that effect. As a directorate, we find this very serious because once the feeding regime is wrong, it has a rippling effect on health and every other thing. So we are so passionate about it. We are working assiduously to ensure the rules change, and we are also hopeful that the 5 CDs will be increased in the course of 2026 to reflect the feeding regime for an adult, a disgruntled adult, an angry adult behind the walls. And we also have to note on this platform that of all the things that have given cause for inmates to riot is food. And so we do everything within our walls to ensure that as much as it is possible, we are containing the inmates without the riots. Because if there is any riot, the poor prison officer becomes the first point of attack before any intervention.
Away from that, after weeks of violent clashes between the youth of Mpatuim and soldiers regarding Asanko mines, the community remains under tension and grief as illegal miners continue to invade the concession. The ongoing incursion by the local miners are raising fears of a looming fresh conflict as ancillary mining companies recount the financial ruin in the last clash. My colleague Nana Boachi Adam visited the mine weeks after the fatal clash and filed this report.
Clash at Mpatuim in the Amansea West District began after residents accused the Asanko Mine security of killing an illegal miner for invading the company's concession. Tension rose when family of the deceased rejected the body and the youth in the community blocked roads in protest. On September 9, 2025, an altercation broke out between the agitated residents and military personnel stationed at the site where the Abuabu Assembly member Samuel Dankwa died and 2 others severely injured. One of the injured victims remained in the hospital struggling to recover from gunshot wounds. Kokode-Nwamase is one of the victims still receiving treatment. He narrates how he nearly lost his life in the clash.
And the bass in my ma umbutume now abuba oh the chess a bass in my mad some of people be now omo in so umikita abuba and a second.
The bus was full of armed men. They beat me up and got me injured into the States, all because I work for Asanko. They threatened to kill me, claiming that we have killed the assemblyman.
And the say, so we are Jubasanko. Mona Moko Assemblyman, Yesu Asanko, Made Bukuno into.
But despite heavy military presence, some local residents continue to creep into Asanko Mine's concession, highlighting fear of renewed clashes. Residents say Galamsey operators have taken advantage of the chaos to invade mining concessions, worsening the already fragile situation.
After weeks of the destruction, with companies still counting their losses, the destruction continues. Far behind me is where illegal miners continue to operate. Just after some few minutes or few meters away from where the construction companies operate.
Meanwhile, mining companies operating in the Esase enclave of Asanko mines, including Robotech Ghana Limited, are counting their losses in the aftermath of the violence. Other companies like AKL Company Limited, Zen Ghana Limited, Bilodge Company Limited, and GTS Ghana Limited have also lost millions as buses and other valuable equipment were destroyed.
A bus belonging to the mining company is seen right here, destroyed, glasses broken, chairs inside have been burnt and tires busted. Other earth-moving machines have also been affected.
Company officials disclosed that vehicles and other property running into millions of cedis were vandalized during the unrest. George Jakpa is the human resource manager of AKL. He explains the rate of destruction on the companies.
The bus has been destroyed completely with all the glasses spoiled. They set fire on it and a few places got burnt and they were able to put it off, and it is in this state of the bus. And then we have one tipper truck, and then our excavator also got spoiled. They took the controls and they spoiled some of the glasses and other things.
According to Mr. Jakpa, the incident has heavily affected the operations of the subsidiary companies working under Asanko.
Based on that, we are not able to operate from the community to take the haulage exercise, and as a result of that, we conveyed some of our people to the other site, and then we are lodging at the hotel at other places, other towns, nearby towns, to do the work with the few machines that are fit to work.
The continuing invasion of illegal miners on lands belonging to Asanko mines has been a cause of worry. For JoyNews, Nana Boachidanko Yadom, Kumasi.
Well, to other stories now, aggrieved teachers are demanding payment of their salary arrears, 9 months for some and 13 for others. The 2022 batch of College of Education and University graduate teachers picketed Jubilee House and later stormed the Finance Ministry this afternoon to press their case. The Deputy Finance Minister, Thomas Ampinyako, after receiving their petition, assured them that their concerns will be addressed within 30 days. He further pledged that the arrears would be factored into the next national budget expected in October 2025.
Oh, why we say that?
They said they are still not members of them, so they can't fight. They are not onboarded yet.
Hello. My name is Thomas Ampin. I am deputy to the Finance Minister, Dr. Kesil Atoforsen. He has asked me to come and listen to you and give you a very simple message. And before I deliver the message, I want to say that your leadership have told us why you are here. And their message was also very simple, that you have been recruited and have been teaching for about a year now without salary. I told your leadership that it is a situation that I can perfectly relate to, because as I stand here before you, I'm one of you. I trained as a teacher. Hello.
Deputy Finance Minister there, Thomas Ampinyako. While the lead convener for the aggrieved unpaid newly posted teachers joins me live here on ThePulse, Simon Kofinate. Thank you so much for your time. You've just been hearing the assurances of the Deputy Finance Minister. Your concerns have been addressed?
All right, thank you very much. And so, like the Finance Minister said, we were happy to have heard it from his own mouth, and we are just hoping that whatever thing he has told us will come to reality as we all wait to hear.
So you are returning to the classrooms?
Of course. In actual fact, we've been going to the classrooms, and that is being done on sacrificial basis. So we are going back to our post, and then we'll start counting from today the 30 days as he had promised.
Okay. Now, so far, you have already gotten these assurances. After 30 days, should your concerns not be addressed, what should we expect moving forward?
So after 30 days, if we do not hear anything, I think the leadership will go back to the table and then we'll plan what to do next.
But in all, how much is government owing your members?
To be honest, government is owing as much as 13 months' salary. And so we are talking about something closer to 60,000 per head.
And how many members are you?
Currently, together with the graduate from the university, we number 6,700.
I see. And so you're looking forward to that assurance from the Deputy Finance Minister. And we'll come back to you once that time is up, just to get updates on that. Thank you so much for your time here on The Pulse. You're still watching The Pulse. We'll be back after this weekend. Please stay tuned in. Thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse. Now, to other stories now. $165 million. That's how much the state spent on a 15-kilometer suburban railway meant to connect Kokode-Nwamase, 2nd D and Takoradi. And yet today it lies abandoned. Stations once buzzing with passengers and goods are now rusted and silent. The gleaming gates and metal seats have lost their shine, overtaken by weeds and cobwebs. Now, in the following report and feature story by the Fort Estate, we'll bring you Rusted Dreams.
These are the trains brought by President Mahama. They've been here for the past 5 months. They haven't moved. Fully air-conditioned trains.
Ghana's dream of a working railway has remained stuck on the tracks. Even the much celebrated launch of the Tema Mpakadan service was derailed literally when a brand new diesel multiple unit crashed into a truck which had been parked right on the tracks. Accra to Nsawam line not operational. Accra to Tema line in urgent need of modernization. Takoradi to Takwa service suspended after derailment. Many others are still under construction. The managing director of the Ghana Railway Company, Dr. Michael Eje Anyete, admits the company is far from where it should be.
As I speak with you, Honorable, I know you may have heard for some time now, exactly 6 months, am I right? The railway worker has not received salary. And Honorable Minister, I am not going to blame this government. What we are seeing now is a cumulative effect. When I say cumulative effect, I know we will all understand. It didn't start from this government. But the good news is that there is hope.
But why has Ghana's railway story been on pause for so long? To find out, let's rewind.
Nananom, the reconstruction of this line, which forms an integral part of the Western Railway line, is therefore a signal of the beginning of a new era in rail transportation in Ghana.
Well, away from that, the Parliamentary Committee on Energy has directly instructed the Northern Regional Minister to take action against power theft in the region, emphasizing the need for immediate attention and resolution to the issue. The committee chair who gave the directive said the theft, if not addressed, could affect the entire power value chain and its consequences on the country.
Parliamentary Select Committee on Energy's one-day tour of the area visited the Regional Coordinating Council, met with management of NETCO and also toured some facilities under construction. Speaking at the Regional Coordinating Council, Chairman of the committee, Emmanuel Kwesi Bejila, said power theft is a consistent complaint the committee has received, urging for an immediate action to address the challenge.
Whatever they collect, they have to pay VRA and pay Gridco. If they don't do that, VRA cannot generate, we cannot generate, and Gridco can also not transmit. And so we want to beg our people that when you are stealing power, you are depriving them from their job or from their revenue that they need to be able to, continue sustaining themselves. So we want to beg them and want to leave this with you so that when the regional minister comes, let him understand that the Committee on Energy has expressly asked him to take care of this. We'll come back again. Probably we'll find out from the MD whether that has been taken care of.
The Northern Regional Coordinating Director, Smiler Ewuntoma, said the minister is aware of the issue and has taken some measures to address the challenge.
This has come to the attention of the regional minister. And so, maybe you will know that we invited NEDCO here at the Regional Security Council meeting to give us a presentation on their work. What the MD said came up clearly. And so the regional minister had to support NEDCO.
The managing director of NEDCO, John Okanyamwa, said they have put in some measures to help address the losses.
This year, we have been able to push, and comparatively, the losses are coming down. And it's because of some measures we have put in place. And one of them is the fact that we get up early in the morning by 5:30 to go and monitor our meters.
And that's how we wrap up the pulse. For more news, please log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Faustina Safo. I appreciate your time and your company. I'll be back same station, same time tomorrow. Have a pleasant day as you enjoy the rest of our programs. Bye.